And so I think that when we really start talking about expectations, a lot of people jump all the way to the marriage, but
Mhm.
actually I believe that there's phases of a relationship.
Mhm.
And so, in the last episode, we also talked about the phases of building a team, the forming or, norming, storming, performing. And I know I got them wrong, but the key part, number one, was forming it,
Right.
forming the team. And so for me, when you think about the phases of a relationship, you have an associate, then you have friends, then you have the boyfriend girlfriend phase, then you have the husband wife phase. But one I think people don't often process and think about because this causes a lot of concerns in marriages. Then the last phase is the parenting one.
Mm. Yeah.
And so for me, you got to start. You can't skip phases. You
Mhm.
can't skip the phases. Now, I know that, some of us are like, look, I'm already here now. We already skipped the phases. We're going to come back to y'all right in a little while for those who are already beyond it. But for today, let's just talk about the people who are thinking about getting married.
Mhm.
So if a person is an associate, you got to ask the question, like, what are the qualities, because the next phase is friendship. So if you're a person that I just know of,
Mhm.
then what are the qualities or characteristics that will cause me to call them a friend?
Mhm.
And if the person, and we do this quite easy when someone is an associate, you know if we're being real, then we shouldn't be so quick to call somebody our friend.
Mhm.
Because when you think about a friend, are they supportive? Are they a good listener?
Yeah.
Are they dependable? Are they fun to
Yeah.
be around? I mean, because you want to have fun with a person.
You have something in
Um,
common with them.
do you have shared interests?
Mhm.
And the key thing, well, I'll talk about values in a minute, but do they respect you?
Mhm.
Can they empathize when you're going through something? If you have a person that's an associate and they don't have any of those things, are they forgiving? Are they trustworthy? But
Mhm.
if they don't have any of those things
Mhm.
as an associate, then you don't put them in the friend zone.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about that, is it, when I think you and I were kind of discussing this as we were talking the other day, is what are some of those characteristics that do you well, let me just ask differently.
Mhm.
Do you think it's possible to overshare as a friend? Because communication is very important,
Yeah.
because with all of those phases you also have the expectations that you talked about,
Mhm.
but you got boundaries and communication that come with every single one of those phases.
Mhm.
And so when you're sharing and talking about or getting to know a person and thinking about moving them from an associate to a friend, is it possible to overshare?
Um, I think it could be possible to overshare. I'm gonna say but with a but. Because if you just gave a list of all the things that it means to be a friend. So if
Mhm.
you've moved into this friend zone, you've now built trust with this person, you now feel comfortable with this person, you believe that you all have some connections with one another. And so if you are feeling comfortable and this is where we're going, then no, I don't think you can, overshare. But I think sometimes you got to gauge, you need to be clear on if you have moved to the friend zone, but the other person has stayed in the associate
There
zone.
we go. I like that.
So you got to be in tuned, I think, to the vibe, what's your vibe? We always kind of matching energy. We always talking,
Matching
that's what
energy.
we're talking about. And so you can't be so sometimes like eager to just be ready to jump in, and now you all in, I'm being vulnerable, I want to be in this space, but this person over here is still in, I'm still in associate zone,
That's
and
good.
so I think you just gotta watch and be keen into that, to see if that's what the energy is that you
That's good.
match.
And